In this video, I'm going to give you the pros and cons of digital art. I've been doing digital art for about 10 years, and this is what I like and dislike about digital art, starting with the cons. Con 1, having so many options. Digital art affords you so many options, especially when you don't know the program you're using or haven't found your style yet. The ability to endlessly color correct, distort, clone, and throw on filters can really find you in an endless cycle of modifying your initial vision and end up with something totally different. It's good to find your process over time and stick with it. Con 2, the digital art look. One of the most annoying aspects of digital art is how crisp, sharp, and vibrant some digital art can look. Sometimes it looks too precise and pristine. There isn't much of the artist in a lot of the art. However, there are brushes, filters, and adjustable settings you can make to dial down that digital look to get a more traditional look, like noise, texture brushes, and knowing your color theory. Con 3, I was eventually going to say it, not being able to have that original art piece. This is one of those gripes that in my opinion doesn't apply too much to most artists nowadays, or at least most digital artists. They really don't do too much traditional art, but I still love having the option to sell the original and knowing the value it holds over all prints of that work. Con 4, the undo button. The funny thing about this digital art pros and cons list is all the cons of digital art can also be seen as a pro. The undo button feature is the perfect example of a tool that can help you and hurt you. It's mostly because you can be reckless with digital art. You always have that undo button to go back to, and you can use it as a handicap most of the time, as long as you don't go past your undo limit count. With art, sometimes you just gotta get something on the canvas, and the undo button gives you the perfect distraction from getting your ideas out on the screen. You become a perfectionist when you're new to digital art, when you haven't even created much. Do I love the undo button? Yes, but only after years of doing more undos than actual brush strokes. Make your mistakes and you can fix it later. It's digital art. Run with your imperfect lines for a bit. Remember I was saying some cons are also pros and vice versa? Well, here's pro 1, the undo button. Yes, the undo button can be a hindrance, but it can also be a time saver if you choose your battles with it. Sometimes a problem or mistake can be so bad it would take so much more work to paint over instead of just hitting the undo button 25 times. The undo button is priceless for a more experienced artist who knows their limits and needs to save valuable time. And that brings us to pro 2, which is speed. I always say this, but the whole point of digital art to me is to save time. Does it always save time? Yes, but not always. To me, I can render and finish a similar project 3 times as fast doing it digitally. The amount of tools, the layer system, and filters alone speed up and avoid major time sinks you'd inevitably run into with traditional painting. There's no time-consuming palette setup or color mixing going on here. Digital painting or digital art is set up in a way where you can undo all mistakes without having to do time-consuming paint overs if you don't want to. It's all about efficiency. If digital art saves me time and gets me to create more and flesh out more ideas and creations, then it's worth it to me. Not everyone's a fan, but even if I do a painting in oils, I'll flesh out my ideas digitally. That's what's great about digital. It doesn't have to be that deep. Painting traditionally is hard, period, but digital is a bit more freeing and less rigid. Those are just kind of the facts. It is easier to experiment and has less of that learning curve. It's open to everyone just wanting to create, and with all the very inexpensive tablets and interfaces now available and allowing for everyone to do it, art is accessible to almost everyone now. Speaking of efficiency, that's what Pro 3 is all about. The precise tools most digital art programs offer is about efficiency. Need to quickly create perfect shapes and color them in? You can in seconds. What about setting up those annoying perspective grids? Easy. Okay, what about needing to change my whole color scheme? Yeah, it can do that too. Digital art uses the same art fundamentals, however it does give you several shortcuts and actions that can cut hours to your workflow. Just try and use them sparingly. You can't use the tool properly if you can't use it in a beneficial way. Pro 4, the layer system and organization. The very heart and foundation of digital art is the layer system. The layer system works like the animation cell system does. You have a layer that you can paint on and have another layer under that top layer with another piece of that image so as to not affect that first top layer image. It creates a non-destructive workflow. As long as you're on the correct layer, you're free to be as wild as you'd like. You don't need to worry about ruining the hard work you've already done. This saves you hours in adjustments and cleaning up your small errors at the end. Everything is isolated. Everything can be organized and everything can be found where you left it. Easily the most important and powerful aspect of digital art. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any ideas or topics you'd like me to speak on, please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.